New tech.
Hello guys, Andy here with Check New Tech, and today we are unboxing the LG Phoenix 2 from AT&T Go Phone. For those of you who don't know, the LG Phoenix 2 is a variation of the LG K7. The Phoenix 2 is also known as the K8. It's essentially the same dimensions as the K7, but it has a little bit of a higher end spec ratio. So we'll go through some of the basic specs. So to start out with, this has a 5-inch screen, which is very similar to the LG K7. It has 1.5 gigs of RAM. The K7 has 1 gig of RAM. This has a 1.3 gigahertz quad-core processor, while the K7 has a 1.1 gigahertz quad-core processor. Not that much different. It has 720 by 1280 pixels. I believe the K7 has 480 by 854, so it's better resolution on the screen. It has a 8 megapixel rear view camera and a 5 megapixel front view camera. On the K7, you'll have 5 and 5 megapixels on each side. So camera quality is not great, but it is a lower end phone. So for that, for the price point of around $70, it's not bad. This runs Android 6.0 Marshmallow, so it's not Nougat, but then again, this came out in early 2016, so I wasn't going to expect it to run any of the newer versions of, at the Android OS. Plus, I think at the minimum, you'd need about 2 gigs of RAM to run Nougat nicely. So, the K7 actually runs Android 5.1. This has NFC, which the K7 doesn't, and it has a micro SIM card, and I believe the K7 has a regular SIM slot. So those are the basic specs of it. We'll go ahead and open it, so that way you could see how it looks. It also is worth mentioning that it could be expanded by a micro SD card. It says 32 gigs. I've actually read about people putting 64 gig cards there, and it's running fine. So, that's just a matter of which brand you get and whether it's compatible or not. But I guess it's safe to assume you could at least put another 32 gigs, and I believe the internal storage is 16 gigs. So that'll give you about 48 gigs of space. But you have to subtract the Android OS, which takes a few gigs. Most people who do get phones in this day and age will get some sort of SD card if you have the SD expansion capability. That's how the phone looks outside of the box. We'll go ahead and open it up. And let's pull the phone out. Alrighty. Phone actually has a really cool texture, as you can see on the back here. It's kind of a leather rubber feel to it. It's got the power buttons here and the volume all on the rear, which I actually like. At first, I wasn't sure about that. I've owned a few LG phones, and I've begun to really appreciate having everything on the rear because whenever you're holding a phone, you're holding it like this, and you don't have to constantly move your thumb, so you could get a good grip on it, won't drop it, and you could adjust the volume and power buttons. Here's the battery. It is a, let's go ahead and open it so I can tell you the capacity of the battery. 2125 milliamp hour. So for a 5-inch screen, that should get you through a full day on average. LG has pretty decent battery management. This is the adapter to plug it into the wall, and it comes with a micro USB cable. So go ahead and unpack that. It comes with a quick start guide, trying to sell you on AT&T's Go Phone service. Pretty thick instruction manual. That's large, and a user guide. So most of you will probably never really use half of these instructions and information, but they include it. So go ahead and take a look. This is a micro USB Type B. So this is the standard. Well, I guess this is the more common standard even today. A lot of phones are switching to the Type C where you could reverse it. The B just means you could only plug it in one way, but it's a fairly standard feature. So I wasn't expecting anything different from that. And then there's the adapter. So let's go ahead and plug this in here, and we'll put the battery in the phone real quick, and then we could power it on and take a look. Over here you can see that they already put the AT&T Go phone SIM card. So all we have to do is insert the battery in here. If you want to, you could put your micro SD card to expand the memory. I'll probably put a card in there. I think I'll put it either a 32 or 64, and then we'll go ahead and power this on, and we'll show you what it looks like once we power it on and plug it in to charge. So I do want to mention before I power on the phone that I did order a tempered glass screen protector and a case. This is my insurance for my phone, but as you can see it says K7 on both of them, and that's because the K7 and the K8 have the exact same body. So if you order a screen protector or case, you may actually get one that says K7, but rest assured it'll fit perfectly, as you'll see when I power on my phone. So what I did was I went ahead and installed the tempered glass screen protector as well as the case. The case makes it a little bit thicker. For me, it's better because it won't drop out of my hands more easily. Not that it would, because the grip on the back was fairly decent, but I just like to have it in case it does suffer a major fall. Gives it a better chance of surviving and the phone would still function. As you could see with the tempered glass screen protector, the edges did not adhere perfectly, and that's because the screen edges are curved. So if this does bother you when the phone screen is off, then you could go ahead and get a film screen protector, but when I turn it on, it shouldn't make a big difference. So I'm going to go ahead and power the phone on. It's currently charging. Went ahead and plugged it in. Comes with a 64% charge out of the box. That's not bad. Let's go ahead and see how it performs. The fun AT&T logo, startup screen, as well as the LG screen. But as you could tell, these edges are not visible anymore. We're going to go ahead and set this up. Let's go ahead and connect to our Wi-Fi. Alrighty, connecting to the Wi-Fi here, and we will go ahead and next. Alright, we're checking for updates on the software side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add my Google account here. Okay, now it's asking me about some things with Google services, back up the device, improve accuracy, improve the experience, blah blah blah. It's going to go ahead and go through the setup screen. Okay, now they're asking all about getting your apps and data and all those things, so I'm going to go ahead and set it up as a new device. Alright, now they're pretty much just asking to set up a PIN just for device protection, so skip that for now. Don't need to worry too much about it. You guys aren't going to steal my phone, are you? Alright, so now it's just the setup and transfer for AT&T. Go ahead and exit that. Guys, now for the fun part, we actually get to use the phone, so let's go ahead and turn it on. It actually will show that my SD card is ready. So one of the things I want to check is how much space I have. I actually did something that was not shown on the box where it said that you could put a maximum of 32 gigs in there. I put 64. So let's see if we actually have 64 gigs of space, if it formatted correctly. Let's go to settings. We're going to go ahead and check under general. There should be storage here. Right there. And our SD card is good. It says 59.46, so it's a 64 gig card after formatting. That's expected. you will actually need an SD card because there's only 6 gigs available. That means if you download several apps on your phone, you'll run out of space, or if you take several photos, you'll run out of space very quickly. So that 16 gigs is not enough. I would highly recommend if you do get this phone, go ahead and get an SD card. And why not get a 64? It's only marginally more expensive than the 32 gig one, especially if you get them from Best Buy or Amazon on sale. All right, let's go ahead and see the version of Android. This has an app drawer. I do like that about LG. Some of their newer phones do not have app drawers, and you have to change the home screen launcher. So this is just one less step for you because you have the app drawer. So kudos on keeping the app drawer on this phone. Let's go ahead and check the Android version here. Under About Phone, I'm going to go ahead and see that it is running Android 6.0. Perfect. So let's go ahead and check on the Android version. This is Marshmallow. As we see the big marshmallow theme here, we could unlock this fun little game of Flappy Birds, which I obviously suck at. So anyway, that will show you the version of Android. It is indeed Marshmallow. Let's go ahead and check the performance. This is connected to my Wi-Fi, which is fairly fast, but we could go ahead and play a quick YouTube video, and we could see how well it plays. It's trying to show me screencasting, so there's one of our own Check New Tech videos. Let's go ahead and click on that. Let me go ahead and increase the volume. Loaded very quickly. Doesn't seem to be any lag. Alright, let's try playing a music video and see how fast that plays.
Hello, my name is Casey Cook.
We'll go ahead and skip the ad.
With 2 other girls.
That's exciting. Also, I'll check the audio. If you do have it front facing and you have it on the back, you can see that it kind of mutes it a little bit, especially when I put it down. When I hold it back up, the audio is a little bit better. As far as the phone is concerned, I will say that when you click on the apps, it doesn't open up extremely fast, but it's fairly responsive. I like the touch screens. I think Samsung and LG have done a great job perfecting the touch screen. It's always nice to spend a little bit more on a name brand like that versus like an Alcatel, which I bought in the past and reviewed, and the touchscreen was very non-responsive. I'd have to hold things down a lot, and it was also laggy and it froze a lot. Now I can't judge that based on just getting this phone, but so far so good. I like the way it responds to my touch. Like I said, I don't have to touch it. I don't have to like push it down too hard. It does respond immediately. Overall, there is quite a bit of AT&T bloatware like Locker, Navigator, Protection Plus, Wi-Fi. There's DirecTV, Drive Mode, and Setup and Transfer. So you could go ahead and disable and uninstall those. There's not a lot of free space on there, so that might free up some space. But I'll still recommend that you definitely would need an SD card if you're going to use this to download apps and take several pictures. Now, if you're just using it as a backup phone, you may not have to worry about it too much. But I'm glad to see that it did take a 64 gig SD card. Guys, I want to give you my final thoughts on the LG Phoenix 2. Overall, it's a great phone. It's easy to operate with one hand because it's not too large, but it's also not too small where I have to squint to see all the letters. I could easily reach all the buttons and side to side with my thumb, so I don't have to have this phablet where I need a second hand to operate it. But more so, it also feels great on the back because of the texture, and the silver edges make it look aesthetically pleasing. And very importantly, it actually operates well. For talking, for texting, for video chatting, you're going to have no problems, especially with a 5 megapixel front facing camera. You actually see those specs on flagship phones, so you're not really going to have any issues with clarity when you're trying to Skype with someone. The 8 megapixel camera in the back is not bad. It's not the best because you do see some 16 megapixel cameras on flagship phones. But you also have to compare it to the price point. If you're willing to spend $500 to $900, you're definitely going to get better phones with better cameras, and they could run top-of-the-line games. But if you're not going for top-of-the-line gaming, and you're not a huge picture person, and you're not using all these manual modes to edit your photos and take these super high-quality photos, you could get by with this phone very easily. I would recommend it if you're traveling, if you need a secondary phone, if you want a phone for the kids, if you want a phone for grandma, or if you just don't want to spend a lot but you want a name brand phone where you know LG is going to have really good features built in even on their lower end phones, such as all the buttons on the back, and they're going to have the LG fun features like the two-hand tap to turn on and very nice responsiveness on the screen. So overall, I would recommend this phone for that price point. I hope this helps you. Thanks for watching my video, and please subscribe to Check New Tech.
Check new tech.